So this is a video I want to make because I noticed something, at least that I already knew about myself, that is different now. And it had been something that I worked at, and I've not used the traditional means. I've not used the traditional means to do it. The first time it was whenever I stopped smoking cigarettes. I used some very non-traditional means. I somehow used the orgone and a collection of cans that we had way too much of, leaving the proximity of me away, and somehow was able to attach that. This time I've attached something different. Normally, like when I have had tragic stuff happen in my life that I'm very emotional about, because this is my dad's health and it affects most of my life, it's got a it's got an emotional multiplier, force multiplier attached that seems to be something that I'm aware of and can use. Normally, I would get fucked up, and I'm not even in that reality anymore. I'm not. There used to be a reality where when something like this would happen, that would be an excuse just to get fucking hammer trashed. And I might even, I might even say, well, I'll be on it to clean. I don't want any part of that energy forward. And I've not ever successfully got ahead of it until I started getting ahead in the little areas, self discovery that puts me here by default because I know what's going on. I know what I want to do here to take advantage of. I have a better sense of peace that I haven't had before in my stability and sanity. Because as a psychonaut, I like to take every opportunity that I can.
Pow, pow. You know? Now, I know that about myself to a certain degree. And I found in matters of the heart, it's very useless. It's so fucking useless. It's so fucking useless. That is not the correct response. Now, I understand why it would be a precursor to the correct response in this respect because I know that, like, it's very humbling. Like, if the world is, as my worldview sort of lets me in to believe, that we're here to test our capacity to chakra number 4, love, to see the other as the self, to integrate that awareness into being godlike, or by being more aware of the identity of God and the will of something stronger than our own self in a sort of rootsy, fruitsy sort of way that normally the artists deal with. That's why the artists are very good at uh, identifying different conceptual nuances to like emotions, um, higher energies, and stuff like that. But they don't always come out to be very practical, like something you can day to day do in your life. Now, meditation has done this very good and excelled because, when you do get into that breathing and that rhythm, you can hit your cart to some really powerful energies. But without the Supreme Lord being what you set your heart on, you're going to have the Antichrist energy, some guru or something. I was listening to some very good, interesting stories from Zeph, because Zeph was talking about all the weird occult mind control programming shit that's going on when he was younger and in the 70s, and how that like Sadhguru is now taking that role by being a proselyte of the World Economic Forum. They're pushing Sadhguru into getting people into these mindsets, and he even said that this is what he said. Zeph said that he heard Sadhguru tell all those kids and followers and weirdos that he has under him, you know, if you're feeling depressed, just bring me, and it'll never happen again. And he was like, whoa. And if you think about the implication of what he's saying by saying that, it's very deep and ominous. It's deep and ominous. Now, I really liked Sadhguru, and to find out Sadhguru had hooked up with the World Economic Forum really just upset me. Really just upset me because, you know, I mean, I guess, but, you know, it's just another proof that as a Christian, I know that all these weird spiritual paths that other people take are not. You know, you can't just say, oh, that's of the devil. You know, that is so stereotypical Christian. But to find with the absence of the true heart energy awakening, whatever the Christ is, whatever the real anointing for the individual, each person, that is, there are definite imposter energies of the spiritual type. All thousands, numerous. But I don't like to think, you know, when I don't heavily Southern Baptist it up, and I can use and communicate and understand spiritual concepts and things and relate to other people without weirding them out about Jesus or something or that, or totally collapsing the interaction between the pagan people, like the true people that have an understanding of, you know, their native philosophy. I don't put all of that under the guise of satanic or evil, the devil's tools. You know, I don't do that to the Muslim, and I won't do that to the Buddhist. The one my dad has the most difficulty with is the Hindu, because he says that the reason it says in the Bible that God hates them because of their thousands of gods or they have millions of gods. I was like, where does it say that in the Bible? Where is that at, please? I don't think it says anything of the sort like that. I understand what he's saying when he tells me that. But I know for a fucking fact it's not in the Bible. It's not in there. It doesn't tell you nothing like that. There ain't much interacting with, you know, Alexander the Great went to all the way to India and interacted with India, but you don't get no further than Babylon with the Bible. The interaction of the other people is basically Canaanites, because they have to usurp their land, and then Babylon and their bullshit, and of course Egypt. So there's a lot greater of a cosmology there and spiritual forces and things that are in tune and aligned, and then things that are totally subversive and against the sovereignty of you growing forward. But since I have the positive results of not reacting, and I'm giving that to the Christ energy actually befriending me and walking with me and getting me there to where I'm there now. I feel it, and I'm happy for it, and I can share with someone else that may be experiencing the same thing to a degree, because I'd already talked to that person, and it is someone else. I was like, I'm not a You know, I'm not a fucking autistic or retard. I'm empathic, but I don't like the public. And the person told me, well, I wasn't, I didn't say that about you or think that about you. Yeah, they thought that. They thought that to some degree. They're putting that old barrier response out correctly for the me that I used to be, but I'm not that person anymore. And I don't know if they understood that I was trying to articulate that. I said, I too have to fight for caring about you, even though I have the same response to fucking bitch like my mom, you know, or something. You know what I'm saying? I said it in the last video. I articulated the perception that I had of feeling that having to deal with that other female that I care about and like, but they're so unfeminine and that energy that you need to have balance your divine male is spark gapped wrong and is not connecting over correctly. But the input of the structure for man to interact and communicate to woman as a divine female, because you have to have the respect for the concept to exist first. For a woman to believe in a divine masculine ability to act God with the power of God in the proper situation and context, woman has to have the same thing too. Because if you don't understand the Shekinah, the presence, the third person of the Trinity, and all of that, it's going to miss, you know, because Christian religion is really patriarchal and is very woman hating, not to the degree that maybe the Islam is, but there may actually be a reason for that when we integrate the balance back for male and female, because we're seeing what the balance isn't supposed to be and how it's being corrected by the vanity level of society. There's no love in that. That's just muscle gut reactive and trying to program people towards an agenda. But what I'm talking about is actual psychological cohesion between men and women in a societal level. That is coming. That is coming.